This is the river Sumba. It's an essential waterway that has shaped the life of the Dubreka prefecture. Used by local populations for agriculture and fishing, it's also served as a trade route linking neighboring villages for centuries. Over time, the river attracted European traders and explorers, specifically the Portuguese, who navigated these waters in search of gold, spices, and slaves. Legend has it, the river took its name from an elephant hunter named Soumba a member of the ISAMK tribe who used the river to organize these hunts, moving between the dense forests and mangroves lining its course. And today, the river flows directly to the town of Dubreka. The town of Dubreka is located about 50 kilometers from Conakry, the capital city of Guinea. It's renowned for its breathtaking landscapes, with mountains like the Smoking Dog attracting hiking enthusiasts with their panoramic views. And before the arrival of the colonizers, the town was part of the Kingdom of Dubreka, founded in the 17th century by Sumba himself. He came from Mali, specifically the village of Kita, and protected the Baga tribe and the Nalu peoples from attacks by neighboring enemies. In recognition, the Baga chief Baya Tumbuli offered him land, which allowed Sumba to establish the village of Tumania, a home for his community. He later married Baya's daughter, and when the king died, the hunter took his place and united the region into the kingdom called Dubreka. Today, it's a prefecture that is especially green and vibrant during the rainy seasons, offering stunning natural beauty. The coastal mangroves, with their twisted roots in the water, add to the scenery and provide shelter for marine life. The region is home to several ethnic groups, including the Susu, Jalonke, and Baga, all of whom add to its rich culture. Music, dance, and festivals are an important part of the community life and often follow the rhythms of nature. Fishing is also key to the local economy. The coastline, full of fish and other sea life, has supported the people here for generations. Traditional fishing methods passed down by the Baga and the Susu people show their deep connection to the sea and their cultural traditions. So when I was a kid, my uncles and aunts used to go to this place called Dubreka. It's like 50 kilometers outside of the city of Conakry, and they would come back with all these pictures of them just, having the best time in the world without me. Obviously, I felt some type of way about that. But, I don't hold grudges for over 20 years, who would do that. But I always kept it in the back of my mind that one day I would go to this mystical, magical spot called Dubreka. And this time around when I went to Guinea, guess what I did? I finally made it a mission to go out and visit and see this amazing region with amazing landscapes. And there's another reason I visited. The university, the art school, the biggest art school in Guinea, was actually built in Dubreka, named after a musician whose name was Morikante. And this art school has all kinds of disciplines, obviously. There's painters, there's musicians, there's architecture, and then there's filmmaking, obviously. Why else would I go if not for that? Walked around the campus, and all I could hear was just kids playing music, some in the courtyard just drawing. And a fact came to mind as I was walking around the university that 75% of the population in Guinea is under 35 years of age. Now, I'm a little bit past that cusp, but it's interesting to note that this is a generation that's got access to information like no other generation before it. And I know that sounds circular in terms of reasoning, but just the amount of sheer ideas that are prevalent on the internet today, that's bound to make an impact moving forward as the democratization of technology allows individuals to have different ideas and are not so unitarian kind of single party. With that in mind, development in the next 15, 20 years, economic, political development is going to change dramatically. And I thought to myself, what is the most effective tool to impart ideas that will lead to a more prosperous future? And And I think cinema is also that tool. And I want to be part of that. And that's the realization I had while I was at that school. You know, the Greeks call it anagnoriasis, when you come to a point where everything becomes lucid and clear and you know why you are here. You know, the two most important days in your life are the day you're born and the day that you realize why. And that's an example of anagnoriasis. And for me, the day I arrived in Guinea, it was a very important day, but then understanding why I went to Guinea this time around is even more important. And it wasn't all about traveling. It wasn't all about seeing family, which is all great, but it was to get a sense of what my mission was in this country. What can I impart? What could I do? More than just leisure. And I realized at that moment that with the youth, with cinema, and with my experiences, this is something that I can impart. I could be part of that wave, at least marshal it forward, or help foster these young creatives in terms of telling stories that will help develop the nation from a moral kind of idealistic perspective. And, you know, filmmaking is, yes, it's entertainment, and don't deny that. You have to make things palatable for everybody, but, you know, there is still that small hope that it can lead to something above and beyond just kind of a cybernetic experience. It's one of moral questioning, a moral battleground, and exploration of how one can you know, traverse our day-to-day lives in a way that can yield a more fruitful and happy existence here on this earth. And filmmaking is one of the most powerful tools to do that. It's the most powerful form of communication. You use so many different tools within that tool itself to share an idea, and why waste it? And if I can just be a small part of that movement in order to help my country do better, then by all means, I'm all in. I decided then and there that I will do a workshop for young filmmakers in Guinea, a month from the actual time that I went to visit the school, and invited anybody who was interested in learning more about the seventh art to contact me and join this workshop. Lo and behold, a couple of weeks later, in a packed house, we have these young creatives who participate in a Cineforum that I put together, and the foundation of the Cineforum was all about crafting stories that will transcend above and beyond just a local purview. Now, the common question I kept getting was, how can I make a feature that Netflix will buy? It's like, bro, I'm still trying to figure that out myself, but what I can tell you is your biggest asset is a comparative advantage. Your local stories in your local languages. And as long as you explore human archetypal ideas, then those will transcend the cultural barriers. Find the personal and then make it universal afterwards. That's usually the direction I head in. Character first, and then the world, a larger tapestry, as you will. And that's the important thing that I told these young filmmakers, was to explore those ideas. And I was just impressed by the resilience and the creative rigor that these creatives had. And I was glad that I was able to put this in a forum together, and we exchange ideas. But at the end of the day, I think I gained more out of it than I anticipated. And I left feeling refreshed with a clear idea about where I was going to head in, and inculcating not only in them, but in me, the idea of these local stories, of these local personal stories that have a global reach, and how to attain that balance between the two. And for these young creatives, I told them, you never know, one day I might be able to see a story that you've written, that you've directed, about a young fisherman or fisherwoman in the rivers of Dubreka, on the Sumba, possibly. You never know, maybe a story about Sumba